students go to college. If you think about 1 in 10, that's a high number, right? That's 2 million students. According to Emory University, 1 in 10 college students has made a plan for their suicide. If you go into a classroom of 50, at least 5 of them has thought about what it would be like to not live anymore. And now that I've been talking, at least one person has already attempted their suicide. And within the next 38 seconds, another one will. Suicide rate has increased more and more over the years and will continue to increase unless we inform those of its existence. Suicide awareness is so important, especially in this generation, because it is the one death that can be prevented. It not only robs the life of those lost, but of their families and friends as well. With a little bit of knowledge, I truly feel that we can decrease the numbers on suicide tremendously. As someone who has lost a best friend to suicide, I feel that I can deliver some extremely useful information on the subject. To help understand the severity and consequences on suicide, first I'm going to address the causes and what brings someone to take such a serious consequence. Second, I'm going to show you the signs and symptoms of a suicidal person. And lastly, I'm going to tell you how to prevent someone from taking this final step. We've all been in a dark place before, but we are all thankfully here today. Let's help out one another. To get into this touchy subject, I want to first talk about what causes someone to take this permanent consequence. The leading causes of suicide are depression, along with other mental illnesses, and substance abuse. Kevin Caruso said, over 90% of people who died by suicide have a mental illness at the time of their death. Depression being the most common of those mental illnesses, and actually most mental illnesses go untreated. There are many causes that Caruso lists as to what can cause somebody to want to take their own life, and here are some examples. Death of a loved one, a breakup in a relationship, a serious illness, abuse, and there are many reasons as to why someone could feel helpless or hopeless. It just depends on the type of person. Carolyn Ross states, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. Depression and other mood disorders are the #1 risk factor for suicide, but alcohol and drug abuse, even without depression, are a close second. Alcoholism is actually a stronger predictor than any psychiatric diagnosis. And with that being said, 1 in 3 people who have committed suicide are under the influence. Now that I've talked about what causes somebody to take this action, it's important to talk about the signs and symptoms of suicide. When you hear suicide, you often think about someone who's crazy or has lost their mind, but that's typically not the case. We need to be more empathetic towards these people and reach out a helping hand to see what's going on in their mind. Symptoms can generally go hand in hand with somebody who is depressed or has another mental illness, and there are a variety of causes, like I mentioned before, along with a variety of warning signs. The American Association of Suicidology, according to them, exists to prevent suicide as a means of preventing human well-being, or promoting human well-being. With that, they've created a tool to help us recognize the signs of suicide. It stands for Is Path Worn. I stands for ideation, S stands for substance abuse, P, purposelessness, A, anxiety, T, trapped, H, hopelessness, W, withdrawal, A, anger, R, recklessness, and M, mood changes. Your Life Counts says, if you know what to look for, there are generally signs and symptoms pointing to the fact an individual is contemplating suicide. they've come up with behaviors and phrases to which we can look for to see if someone is suicidal. For example, I don't want to live anymore, there's nothing to live for, people are better off without me. You can also look for changes in their mood, if they sleep too much or too little, and loss of interest in their activities. Finally, now that we know the signs and symptoms for when someone may be suicidal, we can talk about the prevention of a traumatic event happening. When you're a bystander for someone who is suicidal, this can be very scary and hard for you. I'm going to discuss some ways on how you can go about for the prevention. You can help and get professional help. There are many therapists and counselors who know how to address different types of situations and want to help these people get their life back on track. You can also give them the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline to have them talk to someone confidentially if they don't want to go out and see someone who's professional. And you yourself can be a huge support system. It is important that you stay serious and have caution when addressing all these situations. Do not hesitate to call 911 if you feel that the situation calls for it. Also, remove all means and weapons from your household to make the situation safe. And most importantly, NAMI.org says, make sure you are actively and openly listening to the things she says. You are now fully aware of what it looks like when someone may be suicidal. With all the steps that I have given you, with just a few simple gestures, you could save someone's life. Like I have stated before, suicide awareness is so important, with this generation especially, and with a little bit of knowledge, we can prevent so many lives from taking their own lives. Suicide affects people in many different ways, and not all reasons being the same, but with our knowledge and with our understanding, we can give people hope and show them that we believe in them and they do not have to go through with this. All of us have become overwhelmed with sadness before, and thankfully we are all still here today. And I truly believe that we all deserve a life filled with happiness and to live out with. So why don't we give someone else that opportunity? Don't let suicide take another life. Knowledge is power. Be aware, stay informed, and most importantly, spread happiness. And lastly, I want you guys to put your hand over your heart. You feel that? That is purpose. Thank you.